Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All that jam. Quick hit. Colten settle on the settlement.
You have two guitarists. Have
Yes.
you ever played in a band with just you as a guitarist?
Yeah, actually, I was really the only guitarist in the band from 2014 through 2019. So maybe the first 5 years or so of the band, I was the only guitarist.
Right. Now, how do you approach it differently? How does it change the dynamic of what you're doing, having the second guitarist?
That's a good question. Definitely going to chord differently. I would say would be one of the main things. Like, especially if there's already a bass and another guitar and a keyboard, I'm not going to play as big full of chords, or maybe I might, play higher or lower on the neck depending what other people are doing. So I think that's a difference. There's also a lot of tonal differences between the way me and Mike play. I'm from a little bit more of a jazz background, and he's from a little bit more of a rock background. So we just sound different. I think it helps me be able to sing and perform better, knowing also that some of that duty, it's not all on me, and I can just kind of get out of the way and sing or whatever it may be. So,
Right. Now, does it change how you think about improvisation?
oh, for sure. I feel like I play way less. I play, a third or a quarter of the times that I think about playing. I had a music professor that kind of instilled this idea in me about like any kind of free music, any kind of improvisation. However many times you think you should come in, just wait, and maybe pick a better spot to come in. You know what I mean? Like every time and you can do this exercise. It could be maybe every 3 times you have an idea, or every 10 times you have an idea. Actually, do it. As opposed to just saying, "Oh man, I've got a lick." I have to be feeling this. Well, you usually don't.
Who was talking about playing less, Amanda? Weren't we talking to some people and they were saying that as
Yeah.
they've gotten older, they've learned playing less is probably better?
I feel like we hear that a lot, and the difference is you got that. I mean, you may be realizing it in different ways as time goes on, but you got that like kernel of information early on, whereas Brian Haas, it was George Porter Jr. Various people have said that it was really for them over many, many decades that they started. I think Nigel Hall, like you don't have to shred everything or be everywhere to be impactful, and less is more kind of thing. So
Have you ever seen the Yngwie Malmsteen interview? You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen Yngwie open up for AC/DC when I was 14.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. But yeah, Yngwie has a line about this, exactly what we're talking about. And I guess an engineer told him, less is more. Play less. And then Yngwie's response was, "How could less be more? More is more." So I was just think that's kind of funny. But I actually agree with the less is more kind of idea. Like, obviously, you want to show people that you are fluid and that you have chops.
mm-hmm.
But I think really it's like you want people to walk away humming something that they heard, not just like, I mean, you want that too. But really, I always try to think about if it's good enough to play, will I play it again? And like developing guitar lines that sound like vocal lines, or they sound like something that's already written, where even though I'm making it up, I'm improvising it sounds like it already exists.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and trusting yourself too. You've been doing this for a long time. I would imagine that maybe getting easier is not the right phrase, but having the confidence to know when those moments come up and what you might want to do about that. Um, Again, with another guitarist and a lot of people on stage, you probably all have to have a bit of that kind of connection and trust with each other as you're going through, especially improvisation. how do you all communicate that on stage? Is there like cues or other things that you might do?
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. There's verbal cues, obviously, and it might be as simple as like bridge, you know. But then we have a bunch of little cues. I'll usually use like I'll just hit my head, and this just means top, go to the top, or play the head if there's like a main lick or whatever. Play the head. I also will do this, and this is like a marching band thing. This is like last time,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing. And we all grew up doing academic music one way or the other, you know, whether that be, you know, marching band, jazz band, you know, we all did music college at one point or another. So we're all kind of used to that stuff.
Yeah.
So when I do this, everyone's like, oh yeah, I know what that means. I don't know. Yeah, there's that. But then there's also stuff, like I was saying, me and my friend Daniel here, we've been playing music together for 14 years. So we're almost telepathic.
Mm-hmm.
He's the drummer. Most of the time, I'm not turned around looking at him. I'm looking ahead at the audience. And he just knows how I'm going to play. And it's almost like we're finishing each other's sentences sometimes,
Wow.
musically.
Yeah.
But sometimes it has to be like a big, like, you know, stop, or come on, give me more, you know. Sometimes it's that. It's more exaggerated.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, did you go to West Virginia for music?
No, we actually all went to Marshall.
Marshall.
Go
Okay,
Herd.
cool.
We Are Marshall. Great
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Sad, but great movie.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey is not our football coach. He was never there.
He's never there.
Didn't
Oh,
happen.
So you have Alex who does trombone and trumpet. How does that work when you come in with a song? You're like, hey, here's our new tune. Is it Alex who decides that, or do you come in and say, I think that a trumpet belongs in the break in this?
So yeah, I mean that was definitely the case for a number of years. Al actually has not been with the band for a couple of years now.
Okay.
Maybe about 2.5.
He showed up in Bandcamp.
Yes. So I mean he was in the band all the way up until maybe June of 21. We're still close friends and we still work together musically. But I would say in a lot of cases, I would kind of make the determination. I would allow him to kind of write his own parts, but I might, say trumpet or trombone, or maybe just play keys on this. It doesn't need horns. So he was a multi-instrumentalist. So through the course of being in the band, I had him play banjo and a number of other things as well. And he would handle a lot of vocal stuff. He actually put out a really good record last year that I kind of took more of a producer role and kind of helped him finish it and master it. So we still collaborate together, and we did another record together with our old band Friendly Fire, which is a great record. But yeah, I've always loved working with Al. He's just one of the best musicians I know, and a dear friend. So it's like anything I can tell him, he can always do it. Plenty of people, you play something or you explain it to them, they kind of look at you like, what? But anything that I would ever play or come up with, Al can just do it, you know?
Do you have a keyboard in the band now, or that's not an element at this moment?
So around the same time that Al left the band, our percussionist Mason started playing some key duties. So sometimes he'll play, he actually has a mallet station. Which is essentially an electronic marimba or xylophone. And it's MIDI, so it works the same way like a MIDI keyboard. He's had some weird technical difficulties with it, so we've been also using just a regular keyboard. So he's been kind of filling some of those roles to cover some of the keyboard stuff in like our older catalog, but then even in some of the new songs we've been writing.
Have any of the songs been dropped because they don't have the trombone or trumpet part anymore, or have you just decided to rearrange it?
Not dropped, but rearranged. Some of the stuff that used to be horn solos are now guitar solos, or even in a couple spots they've turned into percussion breaks. So there's definitely rearrangement, but very little I would say has been dropped. Maybe some we don't play as often, but he played some shows with us back in October, and it was cool. And I think it gave us there were a couple shows that Mason couldn't make, and so we brought Al back in to kind of cover that role for a little bit. And I think it made us remember some of our older music, like, oh yeah, we should play that one more.
All right, we're pushing time here. So what's next? What's the year look like for you?
Pretty chill for a little while, but this is the calm before the storm. We've got 2 big shows this weekend. We're playing live at the shop in Dunbar, and then we're doing a show with Arlo McKinley in Huntington on Saturday. And then spring tour will begin at the end of March, and we'll push pretty much through May. And then there'll be a short break, and then summer tour.
Right. Any other video?
Yeah. We are. I'm not at liberty to disclose too much, but we do have another. We actually have a few albums in the can, as we talked about before we got started for a second there. But yeah, there'll be more studio releases and a lot more live releases as well.
Anything, Amanda, before we?
Yeah, just, I think we've got this, but just to make sure, best place for people to get information about what you all are doing and support you would be your website and Bandcamp. Is there anywhere else you'd want to point people to?
I would say those would be the main ones. Once you get to our website, it'll pretty much take you everywhere else. So settlementband.com. And then, we're releasing all of the live stuff on Bandcamp pretty much exclusively. So if you want to listen to that stuff, you got to go to Bandcamp. But it's on everywhere else, Spotify and all that other stuff too. We like Bandcamp because it's a way that people can actually interact with us and actually pay us. And
right.
You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. But we're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram as well. Kind of in today's world, the website is not the way that you reach people. Eventually, they'll go to your website, but they probably saw you for the first time on an Instagram reel or something. So we're trying to kind of stay with the times and learn more about that stuff too.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.